Hello and welcome to Yoga and Wellness with Amanda. I'm Amanda, and today's yoga flow, we are going to work our way up into gate pose. We're going to begin in child's pose, stretch out the body, spend some time on the mat, maybe do a few shoulder stretches, but ultimately we're working up to do a full body, side body focus stretch in gate pose today. If you have a yoga strap and yoga blocks, go ahead and grab those because we'll use those in today's practice, but you'll still be able to access the poses without those prompts if you don't have them handy. You're always welcome to find something similar around your house, like a belt instead of a strap or a small step stool instead of blocks, something like that, just to use in place of those props if you don't have them around. So with that being said, we'll grab our props, set up our mat, and get started. All right, so let's get started. Today we're going to begin in child's pose, and if you have your yoga blocks, I want to show you a modification that you can do for child's pose, which is a really nice stretch for the shoulders. We're going to begin in traditional child's pose, so just keep your two blocks near the top of your mat so we can modify about halfway through. So we'll come over onto hands and knees. I'm going to move my blocks over to the right side of my mat here, just so they're going to be easy to grab when I'm ready to access them. So to get into child's pose, we're going to bring our big toes to touch, widen our knees, sit back on those heels, and then extend the arms out in front of us. And today we're going to start with goalpost arms in child's pose. So go ahead and bring your arms to the outer edges of the mat and fingertips facing forward. Finally, we're going to release the forehead to the mat and settle into the pose. And as we begin practice, I just want to begin to bring our awareness to the breath and invite some slow, deep breaths into the body. I want us to surrender to the earth, connect to the breath, and give our minds permission to just settle into the present moment. I don't want us to be worrying or thinking about anything else other than the space we're holding for ourselves on our mat. And be gentle with yourself, because if the mind wanders, that's okay. Just invite the focus back to the breath and center in to your practice. And on your next inhale, go ahead and extend the arms forward. Really reach towards the top of the mat. Maybe even the palms lift. And on the exhale, relax the arms back to the mat. We'll inhale, lift the palms, really stretch the upper arms. And exhale, release. One more. Inhale, lift the arms, fingertips to the mat. And exhale, release. And then we're going to bring the hands in towards the body, press the body up, and we're going to grab our blocks if we have them. If you don't have the blocks, you can stay in child's pose. We're going to bring the blocks in front of the body, and we want to make sure there's enough room in between the blocks for our head to fall between them. We're going to release back into child's pose, and we're going to rest kind of the forearms and the elbows on the blocks here. Forehead comes down to the mat. Can stay here, or if this feels good, you can stay here. If you want to deepen the pose a little bit, go ahead and bring the palms together in prayer hands and bring those hands just behind the head to rest on the back. I find this is a nice stretch for the upper arms and sometimes the shoulders. It just is a little kind of relaxing stretch that we can do to create space in a certain area of the body that we don't necessarily stretch as much. And we're using gravity to help us create this space here. Take a few more breaths here, nice and slow, in through the nose and out through the nose. And when you feel ready, release those arms, extend them out on the mat, fingertips on the mat to help support you. Begin to walk those hands in towards the body as you rise up. That was a nice fun little way to switch up child's pose, right? So go ahead and set your blocks to the side. We don't want to keep them too far away, but we won't need them for this next pose. And we're going to come into our tabletop position, bringing our hands wide, our fingers wide on the mat, hands and wrists below the elbows and shoulders, and our knees under our hips. You can keep the toes curled if you'd like, otherwise you can bring the tops of the feet to the mat. And here we're going to come into our rounds of cat and cow. So on the inhale, we're going to drop the belly, lift the gaze for cow. And on the exhale, we're going to let the head hang, arch the spine, press away from the earth for cat pose. And we're going to do about 6 rounds total here, but I want you to use your breath as a guide. So inhale to cow and exhale to cat. Just finding a speed and a rhythm that feels good in your body, or following along with my breath. Exhale, cow, or cat, sorry. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And inhale, cow. I'll do one more. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale to cat pose to finish us off. And returning back to a neutral spine. From our neutral spine in tabletop, we're going to do a little bit of a twist. Before we get into twist though, I want to do what I call a kidney squeeze. So we're just going to look over opposite shoulder towards opposite toes, just creating some lateral movement in the spine. Breathing in and out. And then from here, we're going to take a hamstring stretch that's going to lead us into our twist. So we'll start on the right side. So we're going to extend the right leg long on the mat, really press out through the heel. We're creating a nice long straight spine from the crown of the head to the tail, reaching out through the heel, supporting the body with our strong arms. Breathe into the pose. And then on an inhale, bring that right leg up parallel to the mat. Exhale, cross the right over the left, touch back down, still press out through the heel, but then gaze over the right shoulder, or the left shoulder, I'm sorry, towards those left toes. It's okay if you can't see them, we're just kind of looking in that general direction. This is a nice stretch for the right side of the body and creating a little bit of compression on the left, massaging the internal organs while we stretch the muscles as well. And then when you're ready, slowly release and we'll come back into our tabletop position. And then we're going to do the same stretch on the opposite side. So this time extend the left leg long on the mat, press out through the heel, create a long straight line from the tip of the spine all the way through the crown of the head, press out through the heel. Breathing into the stretch. And then when you're ready, inhale, lift that left leg parallel to the mat, cross it over the right, touch back down, still press out through that heel. And when you're ready, look over the right shoulder towards those toes. Even if you can't see them, we're just looking in that general direction. This time creating a slight side body stretch on the left side of the body, and then gently massaging the insides of the right. And then when we're ready, we're going to come back to center. Taking a moment to breathe into our tabletop. And then we're going to come into thread the needle. So this pose, I like to come into it from tabletop because I feel like it's not as an intense stretch on the shoulders this way. So to begin, we're going to inhale and bring the right arm up to the sky. Take an easy twist. And then exhale, we're gonna bring the right arm to the mat under the left and bring the shoulder down to the mat. Now I'm gonna move my hands so you could see, but we're just reaching out through those fingertips, coming out of the stretch a little bit if it's too much on the back, and then positioning this arm here in a way that feels right. You can either have the forearm on the mat, you can keep the hand up like this, or if you're really feeling flexible, you can reach that arm out in front of you. So again, our right shoulder and right ear come to the mat, and left arm supports the body as needed. This is kind of like a modified puppy thread the needle type pose. And if anything doesn't feel quite right, slowly come out of the pose, either hang out in child's pose or modify as needed. We don't want to create any pain in the body, just stretch. So we're slowly going to reverse engineer, bring the left hand back to the mat, come back up to tabletop, reach up to the sky, and back to tabletop. And now we're going to do this same stretch on the opposite side. So inhale, bring that left arm up, and on an exhale, we're going to thread the needle. Left shoulder comes to the mat, so does left ear, and positioning that right arm as needed. Breathing into the posture. And then when ready, slowly reverse engineer the pose and come back into tabletop position. All right, and from our tabletop pose, we're gonna make our way into an easy seated pose. So we could either come into Sukhasana, where we have a nice cross in the legs, or we can take fire log pose if that's a little more accessible. So fire log pose, if we move this leg out of the way so you can see. So we're creating kind of like so we're creating a straight line kind of with our shin in line with our mat, and then we're bringing the opposite leg right on top of that. So then our shins are more parallel to the mat versus doing like a crisscross applesauce kind of thing. This can be a little bit more accessible if there's some tightness in your hips. So once we're here, we're gonna take some shoulder rolls, just kind of releasing some of that tension or kind of settling out of our thread the needle stretch. A couple shoulder rolls, whichever direction feels good for you. And then we're going to take a few circles with the neck, just gently stretching the body, nothing major here, just little movements. Find what feels good. Continuing to breathe as always. Now we're going to cycle the breath with the arms a few times. So we're going to inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. 2 more. Inhale, reach towards the sky, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach towards the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. And from here, we're gonna do a little side body stretch. So we're gonna bring the right hand to the mat. Inhale, left arm up and overhead. Really reach out through those fingertips, shine the heart forward. Breathe into the stretch. Exhale, left hand is gonna come down to the mat. Inhale, right arm up and over. Reach out through those fingertips, shine the heart space. Exhale, right arm comes down. Inhale, left arm up and over. Exhale, left hand comes down. Inhale, right arm up and over. Exhale, left hand comes down. Inhale, right arm up and over. 1 more on each side. Exhale, left hand comes down. Right arm comes up on the inhale. And exhale, right hand down to the mat. Great job. We're gonna go ahead and switch the cross in the legs since we're in fire log pose. So now the left leg is on the bottom, right is on top, or if you were the other way, just the other way. And we're gonna do a little gentle twist because we're doing a side body stretch at the end of our practice. So I really wanna create some space and warm up that part of the body. So we're gonna inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, rotate towards the right side of the room and allow the hands to fall to the mat. Right hand comes to plant by the right hip, left hand to right knee. Just a very gentle twist using that left hand to track the body towards the right. Breathe into the stretch, sit up nice and tall. And on an exhale, we're gonna slowly release back to center. We're gonna do the same thing now on the opposite side. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, rotate towards the left side of the room and allow the hands to come down. Right hand now to left knee, left hand plants by left hip, long straight spine, using that right hand to help track the body towards the left side of the room. Breathing into the posture. Just allowing the body to lengthen. And on an exhale, return to center. Great job. From here, we're gonna come into a knee stand, or we can come into broken toe pose, depending on your flexibility. So we're going to come a knee stand. So we're gonna roll over onto our knees, and we could either come in full knee stand. I'll turn to the side so you can see a little bit better, like so, where we're just vertical. A nice modification, we can use our block for this pose too. If you wanted to kind of sit down on the block, wrong way, kind of rotate it, and I think the middle height's probably gonna be the best for this pose. So like this way, place that between the legs and then just kind of rest the tailbone on the block. So this is a nice option for sitting. If you wanna do a little bit more advanced for this pose, you can curl the toes and come into broken toe pose. And what we're gonna do in this pose is we're gonna do half cow face arms. So if you have a yoga strap, we're gonna use that for this pose here. So I like to double up the strap for this because it's kind of long and we only need half of it. So I'm going to rotate towards the back of the room just so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So we're either in a knee stand like so, sitting down on the block, or if we want a little stretch for the feet and the toes, we could come into broken toe pose. So for our cow face arms, we're going to come out to a T. We're going to hold our strap in our right hand. We're going to bend, face the left palm towards what is now the back of the room, bend at the elbow, and bring that hand to the sacrum. Then we're going to bend our right elbow and see how we just kind of drop that strap into our left hand. Go ahead and grab onto that strap with the left hand. We're going to rotate that upper arm and kind of tuck the shoulder and elbow in towards the head. And then we're going to wiggle our hands together on the strap, keeping our right arm rotated in towards the body here. Taking a few breaths in this pose, just creating a little bit of a stretch for our shoulder. So we want to create strength in the body to help support us in a variety of poses. Breathing into the posture. And then to release, we're going to let our hands slide down that strap and slowly unwind. And for this next side, I'm just going to illustrate using the block beneath the hips for our modified hero, just to kind of have a variety in our pose here. So I'm going to sneak that guy back underneath the butt and uncurl my toes. And we're going to switch hands with our strap because now we're going to do the stretch on the opposite side. So this time we're going to bring the right palm to the back of the room, bend at the elbow, place the back of the hand near the sacrum. Left hand has the strap, bend at the elbow and drop that strap into the right hand. Rotate that left elbow in towards the body and then begin to walk the hands together on the strap. Keeping everything hugged nice and tight into the midline, breathing into the pose, and really allowing the body to feel the stretch. Hi, troop. Noticing how this side of the body feels compared to the last. And then when you're ready, slowly release the strap and begin to unwind. We can set the strap to the side, and then we'll slowly rise off of our block and set that off to the side as well. Next, we are going to come into our gate pose. We have worked our way up to this pose, so it's finally time to jump into it. So from our knee stand, we have removed our props. We're gonna come onto our knees, and I like to have a little bit of space in my knees just so I don't feel super wobbly when I'm up here. And we're gonna start by extending the right leg off to the side. So if you have to walk down your mat a little bit so you have room that your right foot doesn't fall off, go ahead and do that. That was a bug. So we're gonna bring the right leg extended on the mat. Now, ideally, we would like our foot to face the front of the room, but honestly, that's not really in my practice today. So I'm gonna have my foot kind of out at a 45-degree angle. We wanna create a nice straight line on our bent leg here, and our toes could be curled if we feel more stable, otherwise the top of the foot is flat on the mat. We're gonna bring our left hand down to the mat, and we're gonna inhale, reach up overhead and really extend out through those fingertips, really creating a nice stretch all the way from the right ankle through the left fingertips, breathing into the pose. Again, we can always use a block under our left hand if we need to, but I feel like this is a nice stretch for the entire body here. Awesome. And then we're gonna rotate that right shoulder forward to help support us as we come back up into our knee stand, doing a nice little circle with the body. Bring the right knee to the mat and maybe shimmy over towards the right a little bit, because we're gonna do that same stretch on the opposite side. So this time we're gonna extend the left leg long on the mat. Again, ideally we want our left foot to be facing towards the front of the room, but if we have to have a slight angle, that is okay. Do what feels good for your body in this moment. Creating a nice strong straight line on this side of the body here, letting the we're going down this way. So right hand is gonna come down to the mat, and when you're ready, reach that left arm up overhead, stretch out through the fingertips, open up the heart space, creating a nice strong straight line, or a little archy, but pretty straight from the fingertips all the way down the side body to the heel. Feeling strong and sturdy in our pose, really allowing the side body to open up and find space here. Awesome. My right arm is a little bit shaky because I'm putting a little too much weight in it, so let's come off there. There we go. All right, couple more breaths. And then we're gonna rotate our shoulder out of the pose, come back to center, bring our knees together, and we're just gonna sit back on the heels for a moment. Maybe take a couple shoulder rolls and some neck stretches. Do like an all for one, one for all type thing. Yeah, okay, nice and loosen up there. And then we're gonna come back into child's pose for a few breaths. So if you'd like to use any of the modifications we did at the beginning of class, you're welcome to do so, or just coming into regular old child's pose by sitting back on the heels and then walking the hands down towards the top of the mat, releasing the forehead to the mat in the end. Taking a few breaths. Giving the body a moment to settle in, inviting gratitude in the body for acknowledging the stretches that we did together. And then when you feel ready, slowly rise up into tabletop, and we're gonna make our way back into an easy seated position, whether that's Sukhasana or fire log pose. Taking a moment to feel grounded through the sit bones. We'll inhale together, bring the arms up overhead once more, and exhale, hands to heart. And if you'd like to close out practice with me, bringing the thumb knuckles to forehead, the beautiful, abundant, brightly shining light in me sees, honors, and respects that same light in each and every one of you. Namaste. And we did it! We made it through another yoga flow together. Thank you so much for joining me in today's practice and spending some time on your mat. If you have any questions about any of the positions we were in today or have any suggestions for future videos, go ahead and drop that information in the comment section below. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you really liked this video, please consider subscribing so then you can get notified every Thursday morning when I post a new video. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, you're energized, and just feel confident and stretched out after today's practice. With that being said, I'll let you get back to your day, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.